Are you dying to quit smoking? This year, 430,000 people will quit by dying. Right now, we can easily help you quit smoking.
So this week, Tiger Woods, the former #1 golfer in the world, will return to the sport that made him famous. He'll make his comeback on the grandest stage of them all, and that is at the Masters in Augusta, Georgia. And this afternoon, for the first time since the scandal broke, Woods held an open press conference. There was no time limit, and there were no restrictions on what could be asked. Take a look.
You know, you won a lot of golf tournaments over the last 5 years, living a completely secret life. How were you able to do that? And then secondly, do you feel, what kind of golfer do you feel you'll be now going forward without having this secret?
Well, I think it's how I was early in my career. You know, I was at peace, and I've had some great years, and unfortunately what I've done over the past years has been, you know, just terrible to my family. And the fact I won golf tournaments, I think it's irrelevant.
And joining me now with more on all of this is the man who asked the question you just heard from FoxSports.com, Robert Lucetich, and from Orlando. She is a host on the Golf Channel. Recently had an exclusive interview with Tiger Woods. Kelly Tillman is here. Guys, welcome to the program. Thanks for being with us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks, Sean.
All right, appreciate it. All right, Robert, you were in the room. I tried to get a feel for it watching on TV. What was it like in there?
You know, I think a lot of these things often, Sean, they're sort of letdowns. You know, they're built up to be you know, these seminal moments, and really it never was that. I think Tiger was relatively honest and open. There's certain subjects he's not going to talk about. I think he's made that clear. He's not going to go through, you know, what happened on the night of Thanksgiving, and you know, there's just things he's not going to talk about. But by and large, I thought he was fine. I thought he did a good job for a guy that doesn't like picking his scabs in public.
You know, look, if I was advising him, Robert, I wouldn't be talking about what happened that night. I wouldn't be talking about the specifics of every single solitary woman and incident. I think the American public gets the idea. The question is, did you feel he was sincere?
I did. I feel he's sincere. I mean, I think he's very sorry. I would like to believe that he's sorry for the right reasons and not sorry because he lost his life or you know, the life that he'd had. But I think the guy is pretty genuine. I think he really is sorry. I mean, I thought it was very heartfelt when he said he missed his son's first birthday. You know, you're a father, I'm a father. I know that would sting, and to think that you would miss that for really what is a pretty frivolous activity, I think that would hurt.
Kelly, I saw a bit of a difference here in this press conference and the interview that you did. And I watched that interview in its entirety. I thought he was scripted. I thought he was giving short answers. I felt like the last place he wanted to be was with you doing that interview. Did you see a difference today?
Well, I'll tell you, one big difference, obviously, is the time constraint. 5 minutes versus 35 minutes is a huge difference. And in a recent interview, I said that I thought that you might hear more of the same from Tiger in this particular setting, but you're going to go a little bit deeper and perhaps a little wider in the spectrum because of this open forum that they had with all these different reporters who were very probing, I thought, at times. But when we initially met for that short interview at Isleworth just a couple of weeks ago, what I saw off camera was more of what you guys saw today when you were watching either there at Augusta National, like Robert, or through the magic of television at home. And I felt that Tiger was softer and gentler in nature than we've known him to be over the last 15 years. And I think we saw a lot of that today, particularly in the Open when he addressed reconnecting with the patrons and his fellow players. And he looked to me a little misty-eyed. I thought he might actually shed a tear there.
Yeah, you know, and again, the question comes up, and I don't think necessarily, Kelly, that we're going to know this for years of whether or not he is real, whether or not it's sincere. You followed this guy for a lot of years. What is he really like?
Well, I'll tell you, the Tiger that I'm seeing today reminds me a lot of the Tiger I originally met in 1996. And I said that last week, not just after today. And he actually alluded to it in his conference today, which thrilled me a little bit, because he did refer to the fact that he's going to play more like he did when he was a kid, with that youthful innocence. And he was, of course, addressing his demeanor and living that secret life that was a complete lie. So this is the Tiger Woods that I think we're look forward to getting back to on the golf course. I'd still like to see those fist pumps that he said would be toned down, because that brought a lot of excitement to the game. And for the record, he was giving us those fist pumps back in the mid-'90s when he was winning U.S. amateur tournaments 3 in a row, and he was still that youthful guy.
No, I agree. Robert, you know, I guess one of the main questions is he's gotten a good reaction, apparently, in some of his practice rounds and from some of his colleagues. Is he going to be able to go out there and play at a level that you think he's capable of playing at, or is that too much to expect the first tournament back?
I think it's too much to expect. I mean, having said that, you know, he's finished in the top 8 here 10 times out of 13 as a pro. So he knows this place. He plays well here. He's won 4 times. But I really do think it's too much to expect. I don't, you know, I saw a little bit of him today. He did not hit the ball particularly well. I thought Freddie Couples played a lot better. And I think, you know, it's very hard to go through what he's gone through and to just... As he said today, there was an interesting thing he said. He said in February, I really didn't think, when he made his public apology, he really didn't think he was going to come back to play golf. And I think really golf is really part of the way back for him.
Yeah.
He needs to get back to some kind of a normal life, and you know, so he's here. But can he win? That's a stretch.
Look, Kelly, every golfer acknowledges that he has been great for the sport. Nobody disputes that. I mean, ratings, I'm sure this weekend are going to be astronomical and through the roof. But his fellow golfers have often described him as distant, you know, kind of isolated. Do you think he chose Augusta because the crowd is a little bit more controlled, a little bit safer? Do you think there's anything for him to worry about when he goes to some of these other tournaments that are open to the public?
Well, I think there are numerous reasons that he chose Augusta National. That, of course, is one of them. It is a bit of a sanctuary for him. It's a very controlled atmosphere. But also, he has said it himself, the main reason is because of his record there and his history of winning at Augusta National, albeit he hasn't done that in the last 4 attempts, but he's been very close, as Robert just said.
Robert, do you think there's any chance we expect in any way that his wife might show up over the weekend?
Oh, well, he was very clear about that today. I thought it was interesting that he referred many times to my wife, but only once referred to her by name, Elin, and that was to say that she would not be here. You know, I think that it's obviously a very difficult thing to say, that marriage. And you know, I think he's tried as hard as he could. I mean, he might be able to do it, but I think it was too much to think that she was going to show up here and with pom-poms and be a cheerleader after what she's been through.
Kelly, do you think any chance we'll see her out there in the tournaments to come?
Well, it all depends on the status of their marriage, and he did tell me in our interview they're working on it, and that's all we know at this point.
Last question. Do you think we now ought to give him space? I'll ask you both that last question real quick. Kelly, what do you think?
I think as far as his private life is concerned, he deserves that kind of space. Don't we all? We all like to keep our private lives just that. But there will be questions that he knows he needs to answer, and I think the door has been opening, beginning with our interview just a couple of weeks ago and today with this more expanded forum. And there still will be more questions in the future. Yeah. A lot left unanswered as far as the media goes. So it's steps for Tiger Woods at this point.
All right, guys, we're out of time. And thank you both for being with us. We appreciate it.